Hello, good morning, and welcome to the third lecture of the first section of this course in web scraping with Python offered by Edwonix. So in this lecture, we will go through parsing web pages. So what does it mean to parse a web page? Let's get started. Okay, so first of all, we wanna reintroduce the concept of web scraping. We have introduced it before in the first lecture very briefly. Now we go a little bit more into details about what does it mean actually web scraping. I've taken these sentences from the website you see at the bottom, which is just Wikipedia. So now about what a web scraping means and what is a web crawler. So normally when a program or a script is actually pretending to be a browser, what does a browser do? A browser is surfing the web, right? So it goes on a web page and then it basically retrieves information on a web page. What we do when we scrape, we just imitate the behavior of a browser. So which means we go on a web page and we retrieve web pages. So we retrieve information and we look at those web page and then extract information. Then we look at more web pages. So what does it mean? So in general, it is like about going on a web page, looking at them, extracting information, and then go through more web pages. So then web scraping, we imagine it can be done also like in steps. So if before we have seen how to perform a request, so how a request can be done, then we can imagine that if we have like a list of web pages, so imagine Wikipedia 1, Wikipedia 2, Wikipedia 3, like 3 or 4 pages or hundreds of them, then I can put them into a list in Python, and I can ask in a for loop to go through all of these web pages and perform actually a request at each one of those and scrape those data and save it somewhere, which is exactly what is written in this first sentence here. So specifically in the last part of the sentence where it says looks at more web pages. So it does it once, and you can do it again and again and again. And that's what it means to imitate the behavior of a browser. That search engine scrape web pages. For example, like Google does it. So all the search engines that we use, Google, Yahoo, what they do is they basically scrape it. That's how they can get, for example, a keyword out of a website, and then if you're looking for something on Google, then it will retrieve basically the web pages in which, for instance, like that keywords you are searching for is more relevant to the website, which is like showing first. That's how this works. And that's also in jargon. It's also like called spotting the web or web crawling. So why scrape? Scrape can be done for, it's useful because you can pull data, so particularly social data. So for example, you can pull data from social media, and we can retrieve that information regarding, like, for example, who is linked to who. So in that case, we can create like maps, so we can create like maps and seeing what data is linked to what data. And also we can get our own data back of some system that has basically no export capability. So sometimes you don't need to scrape website. You go on a website and there is an export button, or for example, like I've seen many times, export as a CSV. So it gets you like a spreadsheet which is displayed on a website, and you have then this export capability through which you can download that CSV which is displayed on a web page as a CSV on offline on your machine. So some websites may not have that export capability, so you have to build your own export capability in a script through which you are able to scrape that website and get that information you're looking for. Or you can monitor a site for new information. So there can be like a site in which there is some information you're actually very interested into getting, and then you may need to scrape it. You may need to scrape it like to get that information. And Spider the Web to make a database for a search engine. So you can even like use it as a database for your own search engine. So, well, actually the reasons why you should like do scraping in Python, or well, in this case we're looking into Python, but there are also like other programming language you can use for scraping. But the reasons why you should perform tasks in terms of in terms of web scraping are endless. There are like really endless applications. So scraping web pages, there is controversy about like web page scraping, and some sites are a bit snippy about it. Also, like we should be very let's say careful about like when scraping web pages. In some cases, we will not be able to scrape web page because we may need like an API key, or there may be some problems in terms of copyright. So also, like if we scrape a website, we need to be aware that if the information on the website, which we are scraping, is copyrighted, then we are not actually allowed to republish that information on another website. Yeah. So in some cases, it's troublesome. We should learn a little bit. We should read like more about ethics and web scraping before doing that. That's why in this course, like the examples that I'm showing are only on free websites, of websites which are like free to scrape. So they are actually happy scraping website. They are an example I've shown you before is about Wikipedia. I'm sure Wikipedia will be like very happy if the people are scraping their website. And so also like violating terms of service is actually not allowed. So yeah, let's be careful about this. So what's the easy way? So what's the easy way of doing this? You could string search the hard way. That's one way that you can do it. So it means like if we are scraping a website, say we have that information as we saw in the past lecture. So that information is in our database. So now if I wanna do like a string search, if I wanna like search something in that website, how do I do it in Python? So one way, the hard way, would be I go through all those strings and I look for keyword that I'm looking for. So, but that will involve like a very long for loop, and that's actually what is the hard way. But what about like is there an easier way for doing it? Yes, and that easy way is called BeautifulSoup. So for how funny it is, like this is like the name of a Python library, which is like very good for solving this problem. So the alternative way to the hard way is use the free software library, which is called BeautifulSoup. And we can take a look at it on the website, crowdme.com. This software library is open, so it's open source, so everybody can use it, and it's free. It's free, so there's no license or anything. And we can take a look at this website, crowdme.com. So on BeautifulSoup, we can do the same task, but in an easier way. So that's a faster and more efficient way for doing that task. So why is BeautifulSoup so beautiful? Well, BeautifulSoup is a Python library for pulling data out of an HTML or XML file. I suppose you already like have a little bit of knowledge about like what this data format means. But in the next section, we will learn like more about like two specific like data format, which is XML and JSON. HTML is just like the format in which what is actually lying behind the website. So if you go on a website according to the browser you're using, you can right click and see website as HTML. So you can basically see what is the backbone behind every website, and that is like the data that we go parsing and or first scraping and then parsing when we do this kind of stuff. So BeautifulSoup is beautiful because it works with our favorite parser and to provide idiomatic ways of navigating, searching, and modifying the parse tree. So against the hard way, the BeautifulSoup is beautiful because it saves us hours or days of work. And in the next lecture, we will see like an application of BeautifulSoup, and then we will understand why BeautifulSoup is so beautiful. So yeah, thank you for your attention, and let's go on with the next lecture. Thank you.